Hey, welcome to episode 75 of the Not Joanna Eggs podcast. This episode we talk about an extremely goofy movie, the 2000 sequel to a Goofy movie. It's a heck of a fun ride. We really enjoyed this one, so I hope you do too. Thank you so much for listening. Hello! Welcome to another episode of Not Joanna Eggs. I'm Robbie.
And I'm Tracy.
And this week we are talking about an extremely goofy movie.
Yeah, one that I think both you and it's fairly near and dear to our hearts. Like, out of all the Disney sequels that have been released, like, straight to DVD, this is probably one of my favorites, if I really had to choose. Because there's so few that are good. Let's be honest.
I can't think of one that I enjoy.
Cinderella 3. That one's good.
All right, so I never watched that one, yeah. But I hear
you really
it's good
should see.
Because
it's good. It's fun. I watch it when I'm sick. It's a good time.
Well, it basically gives the prince a personality, doesn't it? And that personality is
it gives
kind
the
of
prince
like
a personality, and it's basically just them. Yeah, because it's basically just them doing Back to the Future. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, the whole premise is, anyway, that's a different movie. Maybe possibly a different review.
Perhaps one day. Never.
I'd like to talk about that one. That one's fun.
So.
But yeah, extremely goofy movie. So much of its time being released in 2000 in the it was just like the crotch region of extreme games, the more like the mainstream version of the extreme games, or the X Games as they're colloquially known. Yeah, like this movie is like, it's weird, but I had a lot of fun with it. I know it's doofy and kind of dumb, but I enjoyed it.
Stupid movie.
Oh yeah, I love the shit out of this movie, especially the dance sequences. But so let's say let's say we get into their plot, Robro, because unless of course if you've already seen a Goofy movie, chances are you probably come across this one on Netflix. I don't think they will ever remove it up until Disney does their streaming service. So I would be very suspect to think that they would remove this one.
I know,
but
so they don't really want to claim it, which is ridiculous.
There's no reason that they shouldn't, because Beret Girl alone, it makes for an extremely comfy and very fun cosplay, and I will absolutely dress up as her later.
Of course. It's fine. I'm like getting sick, so I'm like all kinds of weird.
Oh no. Did someone in your class have something?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what caused it. I have a suspicion, but I won't say it here. Lest he hear me. Okay.
Did I do it? Did I send it to you through osmosis or something? What is this?
Yeah, you sent it through the headphones.
I'm honestly
which is really impressive. Honestly,
I'm just here to have a good time, and I'm honestly feeling so attacked right now.
It's a good old meme. All right, so if you've watched a Goofy movie, you can guess what this is. It's Max goes to college.
Yep, it's the next logical step for him, basically.
Yeah, well, and it was really funny because I watched it with my roommate recently. And he was just sitting there like, all right, so this is going to happen next. This is going to happen next. And this. He's like, I could have probably said some lines before they happened.
I mean, it's exceptionally predictable, but I don't think it's not engaging. It's still a fun movie. But it's like, if you've seen Revenge of the Nerds, you know what's going to happen. It's almost kind of like a complete redo of that, just with Goofy's characters, like the characters from Goof Troop.
Without them being, super lascivious.
Yeah, without them being date rapists, which is really nice. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that.
I do appreciate that.
I don't know how that would have passed anyway. They'd just be like, I know that Disney has kind of a suspect amount of quality control when it comes to their straight-to-DVD sequels, but that hasn't happened yet, and hopefully never will.
Yes.
Once the Cars universe descends into Cars 8, we'll never know.
Oh God, let's not think about that. Those are the darkest times.
I know, it's like they've already got planes and then cars, so is trains the next obvious one? About like them just murdering Thomas.
I'm gonna bet you that they are giving up on that, because I don't think planes did well enough to merit anymore.
Oh no, with such star power as Dane Cook, that's shocking.
Dane Cook, after his career died?
I know, like a post-2007 Dane Cook. What a dark time for America.
Oof. Rough.
Anyway. So extreme sports. That's the premise behind this.
Yeah, so they go to college. PJ, Goofy, or Max, and Bobby all go to college, and they all go to the same college, which I think is just State
College.
State College.
Well, no, I was trying to figure out, is it supposed to be in State College, Pennsylvania? Because that does exist. It's a town called State College, but I'm like, no, that's too specific.
Yeah, you're very interested in pinning it down.
I can't help it. I like to see if there's any real world parallels to this. It makes me happy when there is.
Okay.
But
you should. I have a comic for you then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
Dumbing of Age. It's set at Indiana State University.
Yeah.
And so all the backgrounds are actually backgrounds from that university.
I've heard of that. I should look into it, but I'll do that later.
That's for another time. All right, so they go to college. They really want to compete in the X Games. However, standing in their way are the Gammas.
Yeah.
Led by Bradley Uppercrust III.
Where I guess his abbreviation for his name is Butt, which I'm sure is deliberate. But also the fact that his last name is Uppercrust is kind of sad. I mean, like, well, what else could he be aside from like a rich douchebag? Yeah. Like, his name is Uppercrust.
What's he gonna be, a poor douchebag? Come on.
What's he gonna be, a pizza magnate? What is this?
I mean, he could be a pizza magnate.
I mean, there is a chain of pizza places in Boston called Uppercrust Pizza. It is okay. It's not the best. It is okay. Because I've heard some people say, like, oh, Uppercrust is the best in Boston. I'm like, nope, that's bullshit. There's better pizza, and it's closer to Coolidge Corner. Anyway. Also, I wanted to just address something really quick, but the fact that, like, so they're having this barbecue in the back of Pete's backyard, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And so while Pete's cooking, Goofy's struggling to hang up a sign, like, you know, saying, like, have fun at college, like, just college, banners. Which is, like, as opposed to, like, congratulations or whatever. But I was mostly just kind of incredulous at that canonically within Goof Troop, like, Pete just has this gigantic, immense house. But in the original show on TV, he was a used car salesman. And then in this, I don't know if he still works at the same, like, Kmart or department store wherever Goofy was before. Because Goofy apparently doesn't work there anymore. But I'm like, how can Pete afford all this shit? Like, it's just so much. Like, his house is obviously so much bigger than Goofy's is.
Listen, we're getting deep in the we're getting down deep in
the Goofy lore.
The deep Goof Troop lore, all right?
Or the gore, if you will.
God damn it, Tracy. So, well, I think we talked about this before, right? Because when we did our episode on a Goofy movie, we talked about, like, did she leave Pete? Is that what happened?
Or did he murder her?
I don't think it's murder because
it's so ambiguous.
His daughter isn't there, and so either he murdered both of them or she left and took custody of the daughter, but not PJ, which sucks for PJ.
I know PJ should have been allowed to go with her because this guy's, I mean, all the implications behind what PJ's home life is so horrific. Oh yeah. Like I'm honestly, I'm kind of judging Goofy for not calling CPS on Pete. Because, like, seriously, the amount of emotional and psychological abuse that Pete perpetuates upon his son is really fucked up.
I mean, it's pretty messed
and it's
up,
like, thank God he's going to college so he can stay the hell away from his dad.
Yes. Well, we also watched,
like, the best possible thing for him.
We also watched a Goofy movie lately, and the fucking...
Oh, you rewatched it recently?
Yeah, I think we watched both of them recently, and I just love the one moment when he's doing the bowling. And he's he goes to high five his son and then does the too late, the psych. And I'm just like, what? And the look on PJ's face at that moment is so good.
He's like, maybe it would have been different this time.
Yeah, right. He's
but
Charlie
you know
Brown.
It's not. Like, it's just like, I kind of just wish that he looked over to, like, Goofy and Max and just mouthed the words, please help me.
Yeah, right.
Like, he's like, I don't care that we're in this giant-ass RV. Anything's safer than being next to him. God, like,
yeah.
Anyway.
So, back to the movie we're talking about, or supposed to be talking about. So, they have a barbecue to send everyone off. The next day, they go to college.
Yep, they drive there somehow. I mean, like, I don't know where the rest of their shit is, because they're just in, like, this what looks like a VW van.
Yeah,
they or bus, whatever those things are.
They have like a bunch of it strapped to the top.
Did they? No, well, they did that in the original movie. I don't know if they did it again. I don't remember.
There's also only three
I just
of them.
assumed they shoved everything in the back or like
Yeah.
shipped a bunch of stuff. I'm not sure.
If they're in a VW bus, they don't need that much.
Yeah, true.
Like, those things were
well, because
huge.
they're only taking up like what? There's how many rows are there in that thing? Like I'm just remembering the one from Little Miss
4.
Sunshine. Is that like 3 or 4?
3 or 4.
Something
that
like
trunk's
that. Yeah.
pretty sizable.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they made the most of it.
Who
Who
knows?
knows?
Body in there.
I mean, honestly, I don't think Bobby brought any clothes. Period. I mean, he's barely in clothes in general.
Yeah,
I don't know. They do a little bit too much about like so this is my theory, but I don't know if it's true. I just get the impression that Bobby, as soon as he gets into college, like about, I don't know, 6 months after the fact, he gets really into fish and they never see him again. He's just gonna become the worst.
Oh,
like he's gonna have dreadlocks all over again. I'm like, ugh, gross.
Oh god, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Why would you put that in my head?
Because it is probably going to happen.
Oh,
I mean,
bad.
like eventually, like I think that PJ and Max will attempt to help him get out of the cult that is fish, but I don't think it'll work because they're not miracle workers.
No. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
So they go to college and they meet Bradley Uppercrust III and the Gammas. They also find a cute little coffee shop, which comes to be sort of like a regular hangout.
Like their central perk, but less awful people going there.
Oh, is that from Friends?
Yeah, that was the name of the coffee shop that they went to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or Starbucks in Frasier.
Or a Starbucks, that's fine too.
Well before Starbucks was a thing.
Yes, exactly.
So, and then while all that's happening, we find out that Goofy, for some reason, works in a factory now.
Yeah, God, it's so depressing.
It is the most depressing because your boss watches you and yells at you and
absolutely
is like an actual troll.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's a reason they had to put nets outside of the Apple factory in China. Like, it's just horrific. I mean, I don't know if it's quite to that point, but more to the point, I'm trying to figure out, like, sorry, I don't want to spoil that bit later, but I'm just trying to figure out, does Goofy have all these, like, really, like, low-paying menial jobs because he has terrible self-esteem or just because he has no education? Because it's like, they address it later that basically he doesn't have a college degree, so I guess he's just been getting these similar jobs all the time.
I don't think that it's a self-confidence issue. I think it's an issue of Goofy...
Like, nobody trusts him in other positions.
I think Goofy is probably, in some ways, just the person that we expect, in that he is, like, clumsy, and so he bumbles and bungles his way out of jobs on accident, and then he has to find a new one, which is still going to be shitty because he doesn't have a degree, and he's,
pretty
like,
much
at least 40.
I know, I think he's older than that, but it's like, I mean, and I do like that they address the fact that there's definitely some kind of overlying codependency going on with Goofy and Max, because we don't really know what, if anything, happened to Goofy's wife, or if he even had a wife, or, whatever. Like, if it was just, like, a girlfriend situation, who knows? But, like, it really is kind of crappy. Like, as much as I thought that Max was kind of a shit in the first movie, it's pretty understandable why he definitely needs some distance, because he's still a teenager.
Yes.
Teenagers are supposed to have some time away from their parents. But, like, some of the stuff that Goofy does in this movie is definitely over the line.
Oh, no, absolutely.
I mean, yeah, like, he's definitely still in the wrong and everything, but it's not that he's too stupid to understand what's happening.
No.
It's that he's just, like, he's trying to connect with Max again.
Yes.
So in some ways, it's kind of overlapping the same message that they had in the first movie. But
yeah, but it's more. I think the difference is that this one I think the first one has. I think you're right that they have similar messages. I think that the second one, it's more about Goofy's journey than it is about Max's.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like
because empty nest syndrome is very real. So
yes,
my mom definitely got it really bad when both my brother and I left for college. So
yeah,
I don't know. Did your mom was your mom okay with it, or really she got it real bad?
Oh, she's got it. I think she has it worse now, actually.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway.
But
yeah,
that's
like
a different discussion. But so that's
That's not podcast worthy.
This is not podcast.
And that I don't think you want to talk about it on the podcast.
You are right. But I want to backpedal a little bit because you.
Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned, like, I don't know if it was a girlfriend situation, which to me implies that Goofy, at some point in his life, was very into, like, casual, unprotected sex. Which
honestly, just be like, I'm sorry, the condom just fell off. I'm so clumsy.
I have to send you a comic.
I thought your birth control pills were just mints. I ate all of them. Oops.
Oh, my God.
We'll have to go get a Planned Parenthood. Oh no, the car tire's broken again. Like, I think that realistically what happened was whoever his partner was at that point just kind of realized, like, oh, this guy is just kind of perpetually cursed. I need to stay away from him because there's no way I can raise a child with him. But because he's very sweet. He's extremely well-meaning, but he just fucks shit up so constantly that, like, his day is just like a walking nightmare.
Yes.
like I don't know how he's able to do anything or coexist with anyone.
It's pretty impressive that he manages to...
I just saw the thing you said to me.
Yes. It's my favorite.
Your dad doesn't just have sex, Maxie. Your dad fucks. Goofy totally fucks. Like, honestly, I love how they depict him in this movie because we'll address that later. But it's like Goofy clearly has some kind of like charisma or way of resonating with women, because we saw some of it in the first movie when he's at like the Kmart or whatever, and he's really good with kids and everything. Yeah, and the lady was super into it. She would have just been like, "I would have allowed you to plow, sir."
Well, yeah, and that's actually a good point, because that's one of the things that Roxanne in the first movie finds endearing about Max is his laugh, which is obviously the Goofy laugh. So you're right there. So he loses his job at the factory because he's sad, and he sort of like flips out and destroys.
No, he's just like daydreaming when he's supposed to be working. Yeah, and he just like all the conveyor belts and stuff start breaking down because just shit's getting fucked up.
Yeah,
so
goofy things happen.
Yeah, of course.
And then he is told he has to go back to college in order to get a new job.
Oh God, at the unemployment office with that lady who I love.
Yeah, no, I do she's kind of great.
Well, Mr. Goof, I noticed you don't have a college degree. And it's the same voice actor that does Bradley too. It's Jeff Bennett. He's freaking great.
Man, good on him.
He's awesome. He's just about as good as Jim Cummings, or like I like his range. Like, he does extremely specific voices.
What was the one line? Like, come on, doll, you're never too old to learn a new trick.
No, I'm like, she is totally coming on to him.
It's a little uncomfortable. Like, there's a lot of there's some energy there that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was like, there's just something about like how aggressive she is towards him. I'm like, no. That's not okay.
Listen, man, she wants it. She wants the goof.
I mean, she wants to get on top of that goof's troop, I guess.
God damn it! We have descended into some awful territory, and I am sorry.
I don't care, man. This is just how it is. That you have to be invested in this. If you don't know by now what our dynamic is, I can't help you.
You should have known by now.
And it happened, and we were nothing. Yes. God, I don't know. I mean, she's not wrong in terms of, especially nowadays. Like, honestly, watching that scene where the unemployment agent is telling Goofy that he pretty much has to have a college degree to get a decent paying job. She's not wrong. It's just like the problem is that there's never really an emphasis for the application or like what specific degree you need to have when it comes to the job. Like, at least this is just kind of in my experience or like what I've gleaned from other people that I've talked to, but mostly their degrees really don't even come up unless they're going for something explicitly academic or specific, like a school psychologist or something. Like, one where you have to have a very designated path for doing it.
Yeah, there's certain jobs that benefit from having certain types of degrees, but there's definitely plenty of jobs where they just, I literally worked one. They just want you to have a bachelor's. They don't care what it's in.
Yeah, they don't give a shit what the actual specialization is. I mean, it could be in like something incredibly esoteric like macrame. It doesn't matter as long as you have a degree. One
of my friends who I met at that job has a degree in, I want to say, like environmental science or like geospatial studies or something like this. Like,
sure,
just some wily shit, man.
Yeah.
And we were like working at a mortgage firm. It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know exactly what it is, because none of the work that we were doing, like, of any, like, or at least, like, for most of the jobs I've ever applied to that are, like, asking for degrees, it's all just rudimentary stuff that if you've worked in any general, like, job, like, whether it's, like, data entry or customer service or stuff like that, it's really not even applicable. I think that they just want to show that, like, you actually did something. Like,
Yeah,
you didn't just, like, screw around. Like, I think they just want to see that you were dedicated to something for, like, 4 years.
Yeah,
and got
that's
it done.
kind of how it goes, right? Like, that was
like, show us a modicum of restraint and control that you had towards, like, how you structured your life for this time period, and
Sure.
we'll give you a job.
Yeah.
Like, I
don't know. So Goofy has to go back to college. He goes back to the same school that Max went to.
Which is kind of fucked up, because you'd think that he would have just gone to a community college, considering he only had, like, what, 6 credits left to go?
So
was it a year? He dropped after 3 years or something?
That's what it seems to be, because they definitely make it seem like it takes a year, but we don't. I feel like there's never a sense of winter in this movie.
No, there isn't. I mean, like, I don't think that there are any seasons aside from summer in this universe.
It's just in the world of Goof Troop, there is only unending summer.
There is only summer.
No, because there's definitely, like, a Christmas special with Max and Goofy.
Yeah, I remember that one.
But so I think it's supposed to be a year, but it also, like, honestly, the whole, like, system of degree programs is sort of weird.
But it'd be so stupidly expensive for him to go there and finish while Max is just starting, because Max is clearly a freshman.
Especially because it's sort of implied that he lives at the dorms.
Yeah, I mean, like, if Goofy actually does live at the dorms, that is so creepy. It's like, hi, guys, hope you don't mind. My 45-year-old dad has to move into the dorms. And everyone's just like, oh, God, he can just have the suite. It's fine. We're going to go talk to our RA and see if we can get reassigned. It's totally fine. We understand. But, like, if that's actually what the deal is, because you see that he clearly has a dining hall pass and whatever, like, is he sleeping there? Because otherwise, does he sleep in his car? Like, what's going on?
It is implied to me that he has to sleep there or in the car.
He has to be.
I like to believe that he sleeps there because the car is too sad.
Yeah, I know that he doesn't have the same pacer. I think he got a different car, or maybe he does have the pacer. I'm not sure. Maybe he got it fixed. I forget, but I think it would be crazy for him to, like, drive back and forth and, you know, like, as a commuter college, because we clearly see that they are driving for a long time to figure out how to get there.
That they're driving
I'm like,
that
would be insane for, like, Goofy is just like this madman who is so dependent on his son. He enrolls in the same college and drives back and forth 3 hours each direction just to go to school with him. Like, it's too creepy.
You know what it makes me think of is that awful on The Sims, someone built a house and then they built a hedge maze around the house.
Oh my God!
So
or like Mr. Bones Wild Ride in Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Something like that, but no. So what
you can never get off.
You can never get off. Well, that was what it was, right? So the hedge maze around the house was such that it took like 16 hours to walk through.
No.
So the carpool will arrive in 10 minutes. 8 hours later, you're not through the maze. The character, like, cries and then goes to sleep. Wakes up. It's just a fucking mess. If Goofy's commuting, it's like that.
Yeah, it's just him going through that hedge maze of life, and, like, his single motivation is just going to see Max. And if that doesn't make it inherently creepier, I don't know what would.
It's the most depressing thing I've ever heard.
It's so accurate, but also there's a lot of ska movie and there's a lot of ska music in this.
Yeah, because it was made in 2000 when people thought ska would live on.
Which is, like, it's the pinnacle amount of time for all the ska that you were listening to in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Yes.
Which is probably my favorite out of all of those.
Which, I mean,
but, like, yeah, God,
fairness,
there's so much freaking ska. It's just like Mighty Mighty Boss tones everywhere. Just real big fish constantly. It's frustrating, but it's like, we get it. They're in tune with the skater community. I get it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think those two things coincided, and then Tony Hawk, you know, retired, and then both of those things died.
Exactly. So... Actually, my theory behind why Goofy dropped out after 3 years was that he probably got his girlfriend/wife pregnant, and they couldn't afford it.
Yeah, it could be.
With Max, like, it could make sense, I guess.
I mean, all right, I'm not going to revisit the timelines. All right,
It's too depressing.
I just don't want to
I'm
think
still
about it all
thinking
that
about
much.
him living in his car, like Breaking Bad style. Oh, no.
Oh,
That's sad.
we've created
God.
such awful things in only 20 minutes.
I know, but I really want to get more into the goofy mythos. Like, it's just, I love
Just
making extended universes for things that don't need it, and no one was asking for it.
No one's asking for it, but we brought it for you.
There you go. That's the kind of service you get from Not Joanna Eggs, fam.
Do you want hard-boiled eggs? We pickled them instead.
Can I offer you a pickled egg in these trying times? Yes.
Oh, yes. Goofy comes to Max's college and through, a series of goofy mishaps, ends up on the team in the Gamma Moo Moo fraternity.
Yep. Gamma Moo Moo. Who wants to be in a frat with a bunch of cows?
Thank you, PJ.
Thanks, PJ.
And so, he joins the Gammas and,
while they're trying to qualify for the X Games, it should be noted.
Yeah,
even though they're just about to start like 2 days before.
Yeah, it's sort of weird how that works. So, and that's basic. And then in order to sort of distract Goofy so that they can, practice and get ready for the X Games, Max essentially gets his dad a girlfriend without attempting to. But that is what happens. That's how it goes.
Basically, he finds Goofy another nerd at the college. It's just this implausibly attractive librarian teacher librarian because of course she is.
Yeah, she's the head librarian. Hot for teacher.
Yeah, she's super cute, and I really like her character.
Yes, she's good.
In any other universe, she would be voiced by Annie Potts. But she wasn't.
Potts.
Do you remember Janine from Ghostbusters?
Oh, sure. Okay.
We got one! Yeah.
Ooh, God. Thank God we didn't get that.
Yeah, I know. It could have been bad.
That would have taken a buzzsaw to that whole experience.
Exactly. But yeah, they hit it off like crazy just because she collects 70s memorabilia and Goofy is just completely just paralyzed by anything outside of the 70s.
Yes.
In a sweet way, kind of.
Hey, man. He loves the Mambo King.
Yeah, and Disco Dog. Xavier Cugat, the Mambo King.
Everybody Mambo! Yes. Not better than the Mambo King.
It's so true, though. I mean, so I was trying to think of, like, if I was actually in Max's position, like, if, say, like, God forbid, one of my parents has to go back to, like, school or finish getting a degree or something, I'd probably just be more apt to try to help them find a job because, number one, I don't really know if they would allow themselves to do that, like, just to go back if, depending on the kind of job that they got into, but...
Sure.
I mean, especially that they have career resources on most college campuses, like especially the bigger ones, like a state college. I would think that they would easily be able to find some kind of job placement thing for him. Like even the community college close to us has one.
Yeah, well, that was what I was gonna say. Is like community colleges, a part and parcel of their purpose is to serve the community, hence community college.
Dude.
So some of them, depending on sort of their interaction with the community, have like a lot of resources to help furthering of adult education. So if you need to like get a certificate or something to like get a new job, that is perfect for a community college.
Definitely. Well, and honestly, I never would have been able to graduate on time for getting my 4-year degree if I didn't have the community college that was close to us.
Really?
Because because I was a transfer student, so I originally started off at a state college, similar to how this was set up and everything. But I just didn't really like it that much, so I ended up transferring out after finishing up a year, like I promised my parents I would. And I changed to a different school. But the problem was the specializations for the new school that I moved to. They didn't honor some of the credits that I took.
Of course they didn't.
Because of course they didn't. But I mean, it makes sense. I went from a public university to a private one, so whatever. It's just another way for them to nickel and dime you. Like there's a lot of bullshit stuff going on with that. But that's a whole nother episode
that's a
where we talk about how fundamentally broken the loans and college system in America is. Anyway, but yeah, no, like I did summer school for about 2 or 3 years, pretty much from freshman year onward just to make sure that all the rest of my credits would finish up because I didn't want to be there for 4.5 to 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't, number one, it wouldn't be fair to my parents. It was too much money. And I wanted to make sure that like I got out of there on time like I was supposed to. So I just supplemented it with the cheaper courses that would still fulfill whatever the requirements were at the community college that was closer to us. And it worked out fine. Like, yeah, I still got them. Took some enrichment ones too. And it worked out pretty well. So
enrichment courses.
Yeah, oh yes.
Make you
mostly graphic design stuff, don't get me wrong, but
yeah, I mean Hitch enriches your soul. How much?
No, I just didn't want to have to pay for a license for Adobe because Adobe's a bullshit program.
Accurate. Industry standard.
If it's the industry standard, they shouldn't be like priced anyway. They shouldn't be gatekeeping it with how expensive the software is, in my opinion. Anyway.
Agreed.
I use freeware for everything anyway, so I don't even care.
Same. So
I'm sorry for getting on my pulpit there.
We're just off on the tangents tonight. It's fine.
I mean, but like honestly, we both have a lot of interest tied into this whole college thing anyway.
Yeah, well,
just because like it's like because you as a grad student, I was gonna say like, do you see any people like there at your school that are roughly like Goofy's age or are trying to finish up courses or anything or like doctorates for sure? I'd think.
So I've definitely met some people. I haven't had a lot of them in my classes. But I know, for example, like one of my friends has, he had a student who was like his dad's age once, and that was like wild conceptually.
Well, because it's really difficult for them too, because you have to put yourself in their shoes, like especially if they either had to come back to finish up a degree or to just get some other kind of certification. It's intimidating for them because they're surrounded by either people in like their late teens to like maybe their early 30s. But in general, unless they're doing something really specific, I mean, it's not like they're going to like do a class somewhere. You know, it's different.
Yeah, well, also like again, being like 50 and having a kid the age of your son teaching you would be super weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just odd. But like I've easily experienced people at one of my previous jobs, like people that are probably not too far away from retiring. Yes. They have to like they've never used computers before. They've never had to, or like do word processing. They don't have like decent words per minute and stuff, and they have to like try to learn how to do it. But so many of them, they're just so far to the point that it's just too isolating for them technology-wise that they just feel kind of paralyzed whenever they're in front of them. It was difficult. I don't know. Because like you try to be understanding with them, but like there's some stuff that if they don't really quite get it, you can't totally reframe it so that they can understand it. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, no.
Because I had to train a lot of those people to do it, and I was just like, I tried to... Anyway, that's not necessary.
So amongst the sort of goofy things, they end up at the X Games qualifying rounds because they cheat. They shine a mirror into Max's eyes when he's doing his qualifier.
I don't know how they're not seeing this because there should be a bunch of security and judges everywhere.
You would
like,
think
for suspecting
that
foul
weird
play.
bear judge is good at something, and he's not.
No, he's really not.
He's
like,
real bad at his job. And then to further that, they put a rocket onto Goofy's skateboard and have him do the qualifier.
Dangerous.
Yeah, no, he'd be dead. He would be dead.
Yeah, no, he should have died.
He's probably invincible.
It's just something about I think that God has really favored Goofy because there are so many instances where he should have died and it just doesn't happen.
Yes.
like the reverse Darwin Awards.
No, I honest to God think that no one knows, including Goofy, that Goofy is actually like indestructible.
He's like the Messiah.
I don't know if he's the Messiah. He's just indestructible. You can't kill him because for some reason you just can't.
I mean, he's kind of like Mr. Magoo, where like there are so many instances where he should have died, but like it's just there's always so many coincidences of things that just happen to occur at the same time that he's trying to move somewhere. It's like, oh look, there's this beam covered up this gigantic gap in the ground, so Goofy won't die now because he's sleepwalking or some shit. Like
yes, exactly.
Oh God.
So
anyway.
To sort of cut some of this short, because there are just some things in the movie that I just want to talk about as opposed to like plot elements, right?
Sure.
Ultimately, they get to the X Games because Goofy, because he lost track of what he was doing, quits the Gammas, focuses on his studies, and then during the final round of the X Games has to sub in for someone for PJ on Max's team because the Gammas knocked him out, basically.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And so then there's this long and lovely scene of them doing the X Games triathlon, basically. It's
anyway,
basically like a triathlon scene, right?
Yeah, it's structured like a triathlon because they've got, well, at least like they go between inline skates, bikes, and then skateboarding, right?
Yeah. So,
oh, thank God there were no freaking scooters. That was like the worst. Like the Razor scooter trend, I genuinely don't understand because I still see like douchebags going around them on offices and stuff, and I'm like, you need to stop. It's not faster, and it's really bad for your feet. I hated Razor scooters. Like, I nicked my knee really badly with one at one point. I'm like, this piece of shit.
This fucking asshole garbage. So then, in the last second, Bradley ends up blowing up part of the X Games.
Oh, yeah, he has like actual explosives that were on the thing.
Yeah,
I think they were on this skateboard or whatever that I think that Goofy was on. Or they're supposed to be.
I don't remember whose they were on.
And he's just like, fuck it, I'm just going to kill you instead.
Yeah, he blows it up and then leaves, and then somehow manages to get to the finish line, leaves his right-hand man Tank to die. Goofy and Max save him. Goofy,
who's voiced by Brad Garrett from Everybody Loves Raymond, and also the porcupine fish in Finding Nemo.
I don't remember.
I don't remember what his name is, but yeah, he was in that too.
Oh, okay. So, and then they win the competition. Goofy graduates. That's kind of the end of the movie. And of course, Goofy has his girlfriend along the way who pushes him and is very supportive.
Of course. And yes, there is there's a dance party ending like during the credits, which I loved. I loved that. Did you watch the credits?
No, not the whole thing.
Oh God, you gotta watch it. It's really because like they do a dance sequence to right back to where we started from, which is like a cover, and that song slaps. By the way, it's really really good. No, good. It's really good. Like try rewatch it because the ending it's just basically like I guess they're supposed to just be like animation exercises, like them doing like different famous dances from the 70s and stuff. But it was really, really cute. It's super well done. Like, there's Goofy, then it goes to Sylvia, then it goes to Bobby and Max and PJ, and then finally Beret Girl, and then ends on Goofy and Sylvia dancing together, which I thought was so cute. I love that part.
I want to talk. So, having gotten through the plot, I just want to talk about some things in this movie I love.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this.
Yeah, let's get into the meat
all the things we loved about it.
Which is just the whole crew of the Gammas was exquisite because it's just like it's like the cartoon cavalcade of generic villains.
Yeah,
right.
There's the small toady. There's like the dumb one, who's basically just Ed from Ed, Edd and Eddy, like a single D Ed. Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm trying to think. Are you thinking of? There's the one who is my crap. It's impossible to number them. He's one of my favorites because it's either Bigfoot's son or Bigfoot.
No, it's
shaved
Bigfoot's son. It's Bigfoot's son that they shaved down. It was something like that. Like actually, there's I saw a piece of trivia about this on IMDb.
Yes, but that's just trivia that IMDb put up. Any asshole.
No, I know. I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah, it says one of Upper Crust Thugs is a shaved down version of Sasquatch from a Goofy movie, which is a great callback, which I love.
Yes, I'm just wondering, is it Bigfoot or is it his son?
I think it's actually Bigfoot because it seems like he's tall enough to be Bigfoot.
Yeah, listen. Either way, shaved Bigfoot or Bigfoot's son.
Sign me up.
I love him.
He just kind of has Philip J. Fry's hair, and he's just got a giant face.
Just so much face. Oh, it's
so
good.
True. There's so much face in this movie in general. Like, I don't know if this is going back a couple of years, but do you remember the Disney face swap meme that happened? Because the one with Bradley, where he's saying the Gamma Moo Moo fraternity is so good. It's so funny. I love that one. It's just, oh God, just watching them incorporate it, like just having Max have the same face as him. God, you really appreciate the amount of fun that the animators got to have on this because there's so many great extremes and expressions that they do.
Yeah, no. Well, that's what Bradley's great for, right? Is his expressions are just...
Bradley he's just squash and stretch incarnate, basically, because everything his face does is just crazy.
I know. The squash and stretch there is just
it's so
all
fun.
Over.
Actually, do we want to talk about how this movie was technically censored?
Yeah,
the time frame that it came out in? Okay, so this is I kind of knew about this already because I've seen some like videos in the past, like, or also because this was mentioned on a video that Lindsay Ellis did about 9/11.
Sure.
It was a 2-part series. If you haven't seen those, I'd highly recommend it. It's quite good. But because she's just like, well, I guess you guys wanted to see this. But this is one of 2 movies that Disney has released that were censored due to 9/11, and the reasoning behind it is that there's God. There's so the scene where Bradley has the explosive that's tied to the skateboard that blasts Hank and Goofy into one of this gigantic expo sign, crashes down and sets on fire. And then while Max is going throughout the wreckage, it's very evocative of 9/11 in a way, or at least to an extent, because it's like Tank is stuck underneath some of the wreckage and stuff, and they're both trying to lift it up to help get him out, and they're all looking really, kind of haggard and covered in smoke and stuff, and it's like, oh no. And because this movie was originally released in 2000, and then of course 9/11 was the year after, in any subsequent releases that they had to edit that out. So it's just because, they wanted to be sensitive and stuff, even though it's not really explicitly related to it. It was fresh enough in everyone's minds that they're just like, we have to just remove this.
Yeah, I didn't know about that because I had it from way back when, so I always saw that scene.
Yeah, so you have the original cut, because if you rewatch the edited version, it kind of doesn't make sense, because they just sort of go from it's you kind of lose the pathos of the payoff of both Goofy and Tank really relating to each other after the fact, when Max goes to find them and help them out and everything.
Yes.
Because it doesn't really make sense. It's kind of incongruous because you don't see them all working together.
Yes,
so,
just suddenly that's happened, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the other thing I wanted to, you pointed this out earlier, which I wanted to, I forgot the joke I was going to make, but Sylvia's super cute, and then
she's adorable. I love her so much. Her design's super fun.
That was the joke I was going to make, is that certainly somewhere in the 90s to 2000s, there were an undisclosed number of furries working it for Disney.
No, I mean, honestly, that's so much of it. Actually,
all right, let's
so
go
Kent
through
and
it real
I...
quick.
No.
There's The Lion King to start.
Yeah.
There's
no, mine's related. Mine's related.
Oh, go on.
So I'll just make this really quick.
No, it's fine.
Kent and I watched Balto last night just because it was on Netflix, and he's like,
Sure.
"Oh, I haven't seen this in a long time. We should watch it." I'm like, Balto is the Lion King for dog furries. Because I feel like it came out roughly at the same time, roughly the same stakes. The love story is almost identical.
I think
so. And it's also the only. And I told him it was the only review that we've ever scrapped because we had nothing really that different to say about the movie.
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say. I remember we tried to do a review of it. That's basically what we came to.
No, it's like so. This is a sausage being made kind of point in the conversation, I guess. But that is true. The only episode we have ever scrapped out of pretty much everything that we've ever recorded was Balto, just because we watched it and it's a perfectly fine movie and we had nothing critically to say about it.
We had nothing to say about it, and also
it's I don't know. I had no extremes of emotion while watching it.
No, it's
fine.
All right, well,
you
this
just put
is
it
here.
on. It's fine. It's a fine diversion for 70 minutes.
Yeah.
But there's no extremes of any kind. Everything is very underplayed. It's almost bland, but you can watch it, no problems. I don't think it'll offend anyone.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I sincerely doubt it. But yeah, no, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Goofy movie.
Are we doing reverse chronological order, or
I'm
the
actually
90s?
Just listing what I see to be movies that easily could have created furries.
that would support that hypothesis.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just saying, the fuck me eyes in Lion King were real.
That is so deliberate in the Lion King, and I was just I hate that that's a thing, because now it's like, no, because there is such a huge community of people who really like the Lion King on DeviantArt, and it's just kind of like doing the Sonic the Hedgehog meme on DeviantArt, where you just look up your name, the Hedgehog, and I guarantee you will find something. It doesn't even matter how obscure your name is, you will find something.
You will.
And, it's
amazing.
The same deal with the Lion King. I didn't realize that the Lion King was so closely tied to people making OCs, but I just wander across it back in 2011 or something. I was like, God damn, there's so much of this shit. Because people really seem to like the Lion King too. That's where a lot of them came from. They're like, oh, look, Kobu and Kiara are so cute. So, and then from there, it created even more fan art. So, I don't know. Whatever, guys. I keep making stuff. I don't really get the hype behind The Lion King, and I never really have. It's not my favorite movie. It's like I feel about The Lion King how I feel about Aladdin. They're fine, but I don't get the hype behind them. I'm sorry. So.
Oh, I always enjoyed Aladdin.
Aladdin's fine, but it doesn't work if Robin Williams isn't there.
I mean, you're right about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it rests so much of it has to work off of Robin Williams. Otherwise, it's actually a pretty bland movie, in my opinion. Even with A Whole New World, like the rest of it, it's like there's nothing else really resonating to it. Like the reason that we like it so much is because Aladdin has a really good relationship with the genie, and you see him kind of going through this emotional arc within it. But that's a different story. I mean, like I because I told my friend when I was visiting her in LA that I give her a hot take. I was like, hot take, I like Ferngully better than Aladdin. And she's like, I respect your opinion, but I have to disagree with you completely. And I was like, that's fine. That's okay. You're not going to change my opinion, but, that's just how I feel about it. I thought Ferngully was more fun. That's it. So.
What a concept. Disagreement without argument. Oh, the internet has truly ruined us.
No, it is what it is. I'm not going to, she's allowed to enjoy that, and everything. It's not for me.
Yes. Other things. I love and hate that the Beret Girl is just the Beret Girl. She doesn't have a name.
Yeah. Like,
That's
she's almost as though
up.
she's... Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, is this them doing, like, a version of Roxanne? Because one of the biggest travesties of this movie is that Roxanne is nowhere to be found.
Yeah, actually,
we have
I found
no
that
closure about what happened
to
her.
There is absolutely, like, a random background character who looks like if Roxanne cut her hair.
Yeah,
in,
it
like,
looks
a
like
cut.
her. Yeah, where she's got, like, Courtney Cox hair or something. But they never really explain what happened to it. And I was trying to figure out, in a new segment we're going to be calling Robbie's Corner.
Okay.
Robbie, can you tell me, how do you think Max fucked this one up?
All right, so I'm going to say is this. Max always enjoyed skateboarding, but then he got really into skateboarding. And now this is just, we're going to go back into that goofy deep lore real quick. You may notice...
So strap in, fam.
Yeah, no, strap in, because I actually have some wild ideas for you right here.
Oh,
you
please.
notice that we meet the parents of virtually every other character, right? So we see Roxanne's dad. We obviously know Goofy. We know Pete. We do not have any idea about what kind of things spawned Bobby.
I have no idea. I really get the impression that he probably would have been sent to a military school. Like, he seems like he would have, like, either hyper-religious or strict parents, which is why he's just such a mess. Like,
yeah.
That's the only thing I can glean from it is, like, he found both, like, PJ and Max, and he's just like, oh, please, God, get me out of this. But he tries to pretend like he's cooler than they are, but he's not.
Well, that's my favorite. Oh, my God. I just
noticed...
The
deep lore is that we have no idea what happened to Bobby's parents.
Oh, I'm saying that they are... I'm going one of two. My first is that he just straight up, like, left, like, ran away from home and was living... So that's my theory on how...
You think he's a teenage runaway?
I think he's a teenage runaway, and he just, like, started living with Max, and that's where Roxanne was like, all right, man, like, this guy was okay, but he's living at your house now. There's so much cheese, Max.
Do you think it's like a Boy Meets World thing,
everything.
Like, where he's kind of just living with them?
Yes.
Yeah, like what was it? It was like Sean was living at Corey's house just because, like, either Sean's parents were non-existent or they didn't care about him. I think it was one or the other.
Yeah, so I think it's that.
He's just there. Like, but there's no Topanga, there's no Roxanne, which is bullshit.
Yeah, I think Roxanne was like, listen, man, I love hanging out with you and I really like you, but I can't deal with this fucking guy.
No, that's true. I mean, like, Bobby would be the fastest thing to scare away girls because you see it happen multiple times. Like, Bobby cannot get a break, and it's just like, it's probably because he's super extra and really creepy. So,
well, I mean, he is
no thanks.
He is voiced by Pauly Shore, so...
Yeah, even this movie can't make Pauly Shore appealing.
You can try.
You did your damnedest, Disney, but you can't do miracles.
So hard and you got
and
so
in
far,
the end, it didn't even
even
matter.
So.
You son of a bitch.
I will never not make that fit
God.
when I can.
I agree.
So that's my thought on how Max fucked it up. Bobby moved in, and he didn't move in. He just, like, started hanging out there a lot, and then just no one really noticed when he transitioned into never leaving.
I'm presuming that he just does like odd chores and jobs around the house just to earn his keep so they don't kick him out. But I really don't see him holding down any kind of job. Like, he's just like, again, I really do think he will just get super into fish and then just disappear. Like, no one knows.
He's definitely that guy you knew who, like, had a new job every other week and was, like, always,
God.
like, you know, last week he was a busboy, and then, like, he kind of, like, forgot to go to work, and they fired him, so, like, now he's, like...
And he just keeps showing up.
shagger at a grocery store or something, right?
The thing that I'm truly incredulous about is, like, given his track history, how does he keep getting employed?
Well,
like in this world, like where we are right now, that kind of shit wouldn't fly. They'd assume that there's something
anymore.
Really deeply wrong with you,
yes.
and they'd be right because your name is Bobby and you're voiced by Pauly Shore. Yeah, I've got so there's a couple of other things I'd like to address just on my notes here. There's something about, I don't know what it is within these movies specifically, like both the Goofy movie and an extremely Goofy movie, but anytime you see cheese being depicted like on pizza or nachos, it looks like the most incredible thing ever. Like, I don't know how they get the consistency down so well.
No, they really do.
But those nachos they ate, like, they look amazing.
Well, yeah, and I distinctly remember it as a kid, the spray can cheese that Bobby gets
Easy cheese is so gross.
Exactly. It's the most it's one of the most disgusting things on earth, and yet that movie manages to make it look appealing. I remember being like, that looks so good. And then I had spray cheese and I was like,
it's not
what
good.
is this lie?
But I will say this about Bobby. At least he's a cheap date because he only asked for one can for arranging that entire thing for Max.
Yes. Can we also talk about... we're beating up on Bobby, but God, doesn't he deserve it?
I really just want to examine the deep lore behind Bobby.
I think there's a lot to dig into.
Honestly, we may have to be the people to make that article.
Yes.
That could be us. That could fall on our shoulders like Atlas.
That can be our flag in the ground.
To piece together the broken and fractured history of Bobby Zimmerowski. Jesus.
Well, you've already got one on me because I didn't know that was his fucking name.
Oh my God.
No, but in the first movie, it's my favorite part because we were watching it and my roommate later was like, wait, what? Is when they're watching the concert and you hear Bobby is the one who goes, hey, that goof kid's not there. Like,
yeah, I know. It's like, fuck you, Bobby.
You shithead. What the fuck?
Piece of shit. That goof kid? Oh, you mean Max, your friend?
Your friend who you helped set up a thing for? Like, fuck off, man.
Yeah.
And then the next scene is, I know him. I know that guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Bobby's the kind of dude where, like, he's apparently a fair weather friend, but I don't know if anyone actually likes him at all.
That dude absolutely, like, as soon as he hears, like, a whiff of the cop, he's gone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's the first one out the door. He's just be like, I can't go back to juvie. I won't go back.
Maybe that's why his head's shaved in this movie.
Oh, yeah, probably. I mean, maybe he was forced to go to military school after that whole thing at the school. Like, we don't know if, like, honestly, I really get the impression that Bobby is slightly older than them because he was probably held back. Like, doesn't he have that atmosphere about him, though?
I could definitely
think that he does.
I could definitely see him being, like, just old enough that in their somewhere in their first or second year of college, they find out he's 21, so he's, like, buying beer for everyone.
Yeah, and he does it so that people will invite him to the parties.
Yes.
God. Oh God, yeah, like, dude, the deep lore that we're getting into for Bobby is
gone
pretty
too
sad.
Far. I think
but
we might have
you
gone
can't
too deep.
tell me that this doesn't feel accurate. Like Bobby's entire veneer and how much everyone seems to hate him. This has to be what it is.
Yes,
at least to me, anyway. There's another point that I really like to get into. That's just about, it's kind of just going back towards the overall theme of this movie, but I think it's a good one because the first movie basically just addresses giving your kids space, especially when they're growing up, especially when they're teenagers. Because God forbid, I was a shit to my parents when I was, a teenager, but it's because you're trying to you're trying to gain some sense of autonomy and, like, control over your own existence and, like, figuring out who you are and what you want and everything.
Sure.
And as much as Max is definitely a dick to Goofy, I think that a lot of it does kind of seem like it's needed, because if Max is not establishing boundaries with Goofy, he's going to keep trying to bypass this stuff and not recognize Max as a different person. And it's this whole thing that I've seen that happens with some parents where they want to be their kid's friend. And I think that that's kind of a bad thing to do, because ultimately you have to be their parent, number one. So you're there to protect them. You're there to instruct them about like how to go through life, how to treat other people, like how to make them a good person and a decent member of society. And it just seems that Goofy is so afraid of losing Max that he ends up smothering him, which ends up driving him away more. And I think that can really happen a lot, is when parents try way too hard to be their kid's friend. It's like you can't put that kind of pressure on them too, because the kid's going to try to either, if they go all in on it, the kids will be so paralyzed they won't know how to exist outside of their parents' control. Or if they completely reject it, you may never be able to see them again. And
right. Well, I think that's I think
I get that impression from it anyway. Or like I've gained that kind of insight from some people, like seeing how they interacted with their parents. And if they have a really bad relationship with them, it's probably because their parents were too controlling or something else. So.
Yeah. Well, I definitely
kind of like PJ. Like look at fucking PJ. He's just a nervous wreck all the time.
Yep. Although he, like we see in this movie, he chills the hell out once he's away from his dad.
Getting away from Pete was the best thing to happen to PJ. So hopefully he got a scholarship or something. I don't know.
I mean, I get the sense he would. He seems like a good hard worker.
I agree. Like the way that Pete approaches like
most
thinking
things.
that, you know, like exactly. Well, no, it's like, so when Goofy's at his lowest, you know, he goes back over to his house and everything. He all but like drops out of the school, and then Pete is just telling him that like all that book learning don't amount to diddly squat. If you know that 4 quarters make $1, then you'll survive.
Oh, that was it. That's my
I was like,
that's perhaps
I can't
my
argue
favorite.
with him. Like, advanced math classes aren't for everyone, and you probably won't use them outside of having that major. So I can't say that he's wrong. I don't know. It's like those schools that force you to take certain classes to make you a more well-rounded student, in quotation marks. Like, a lot of that stuff you really do never end up using. It's just an excuse for them to take more money from you.
Well, so there's a lot of argument about that.
Yeah.
And like gen eds in particular, but it certainly is a problem in our country right now.
Yes,
just because of
absolutely.
For a lot of reasons, which is like a whole nother thing that I could just talk and talk and talk
Oh,
about.
we could totally do an education podcast after this if you want.
Oh, God.
Ugh, yikes.
Then I'm dragging in my roommate, because that's like up his alley as well.
No, oh my God.
It's then it just becomes chaos. It's gonna be a lot of rage. I'll end up drunk.
Perhaps later.
Perhaps another time.
I think it's weird that Max's first instinct after Goofy becomes really successful with the Gammas is just to leave the school. I was like, Max, your dad's still paying for school, or you've got loans or something. You can't just bail. It doesn't work that way.
Bullshit. You can always just bail.
Well, I mean, like, here's the thing. He could really transfer if it makes him that uncomfortable, but that means that he's either A, not willing to have that conversation with Goofy, or he thinks it's so pointless that he doesn't want to say anything, and he'd rather just leave. Like, that sucks. He has no coping mechanism.
Just ghosting his dad.
He's just like, fuck it. I didn't really want it anyway. Bye.
Well, so I think that's an interesting thing, though, because I think, like, one thing that you have to learn as an adult that's, like, tricky even now, having been an adult for a while, quote unquote, is like setting boundaries, and like sometimes having that, like, especially with like someone who's been in your life for a long time, that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize when you're younger how important that is.
It's true. Because you don't really recognize like the importance that the words can have on them too. Because like they're still your parents. Like even if you don't have a great relationship and stuff, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, or like,
I have a complicated relationship with this. But.
Yeah, I understand. Well, but like taking care of your parents, even, right? Like if you know someone, if you've had someone in your life for as long as you can remember, and they like, you know, that relationship is different as an adult, and like maybe there's just things now that you're not comfortable with from them.
Yeah, no, I mean, like,
and
that's like,
and you're not sure how to have that conversation because you didn't have to set boundaries when you were kids.
Of course. I mean, it's like kind of like going to Thanksgiving now. Like, there's just certain.
Let's not get started.
No, I don't want to do that. I mean, like, but honestly, that was like, especially going through college, like one of the toughest things for me to get used to was just like some distance happening between friends of mine that I was previously really close to. It's just like going to school and being in separate places and stuff. Even when you get back together during holidays, you can tell that things are changing slightly.
Oh, yeah.
And you might be resistant to it, but it's like, it just kind of depends on either how you adapt to the situation, or like losing the friends can really suck, but it's just like, as long as you're like decent to them and civil with them. I mean, it's just a passage of time thing. It's like usually it's not like linked to anything related to like bad conduct with a friend. Like usually if that's the case, you can either say something to them or you can just never talk to them, But
you can always do that.
Yeah, but like it just like there are still people that I was very good friends with during high school that I haven't seen in forever. But like I'm still, on decent terms with them, especially social media. But it's, like you have to be able to like accept that is inevitable. And you can't control everything about it. So, like we're supposed to adapt. We're humans. Like we adapt, we learn, and we grow from it. So, as long as you stay a decent person, there's nothing wrong with it. So,
yes.
Yep. Snaps for that. I like that they do incorporate snaps within the coffee shop.
I love that they did the snaps, and it just like it made Brad go nuts.
Biscotti side. Like this.
I've got a biscotti. I'm not afraid to use it. Ow!
Is it? Oh God! Because I love that they have to have some kind of appropriate, like something for them to drink or whatever. So like, of course, it's a coffee shop. They can't just show like. And here's the thing: I get the impression that Max, once he becomes of age or gets more exposed to alcohol, he's gonna be a violent as fuck drunk. Like he's got some violent tendencies, at least in the first movie. I don't know. Like it just seems like Max has a very low threshold of frustration when it comes to his pride. So if anyone tries to damage that in some way, he will immediately lash out. Because he did that when Bobby was trying to build him back up after feeling defeated about the whole X Games thing. And it's like, you can just manipulate Max by insulting his pride. Like, it's super easy. Like, we see Bobby do it twice. Oh, God. I don't know. That's the impression I got from it anyway. Like, it's just like, are you going to be someone else's towel boy? And he's like, no, I'm Max Goof. I don't fuck with that.
Wait, okay. This is the last thing I have, but I just love that. I love that scene because of, you've got Bobby screaming at Max, are you going to be someone else's towel boy? Max, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I don't like that, sir. Like, he just like
he gets super informal.
Like the emotional range between the two is so funny because like Bobby's screaming like this is important, and Max just like you know what, you're right, this is okay. We gotta call somebody. Like,
and then Beret Girl, they just pan over to her and she's just like so done. She's like,
always.
Thank God I'm gay. Like just.
She's like, I'm not gay enough.
Or at the very, I get the impression that Beret Girl is pan, but that's just me projecting on her.
I'll take that.
Like, yeah, it's fine. She has a very big fan base online, which I'm fine with.
Good.
It's well deserved. There's something like so creepy about like. I know that what they're trying to do with Goofy is just to show like how much he misses Max and everything, but when it gets to the point where they have to do the exam and Goofy's in there and he's just basically daydreaming, he's writing Max's name in like bubble letters and flowers and shit. I'm like, that's what you do with a crush in high school.
Yes.
Why is he doing that with his son's name? It's really creepy.
Super weird. That scene... Yeah, that scene is
like
terrifying.
With the Partridge Family song and everything. Yeah. It's well animated, but like sections of it are very creepy and very weird.
I mean, it's terrifying, and it definitely is 1,000% a bad acid trip.
It's so true. Oh God! Like,
hey man, he went to school in the 70s. He probably tried it.
The most heartbreaking aspect of the end of that, like the result of him like failing the test, was them cutting over to Sylvia. Like she made him a fondue dinner because 70s, and a custom sign. And he didn't show up. Like he
Yep.
It's so sad. I felt so bad for him. Like I was like, Goofy, I just want to like take him over by the lapels. I'm like, if you ever make that woman cry, I will destroy you and your home, and I will kill you myself.
I will destroy
if you ever
everything.
Make her cry. You son of a bitch. I was just like, the instant that I saw that, I wanted to do like the steeple hands and everything. It just put them in front of my face and like, get out. It just, oh God, I don't like to see her sad. It makes me very sad because I was formerly a librarian and I understand how important that shit can be to you, Sylvia. I get you. Call me, okay? Call me, Sylvia.
All right. And I think that's probably a good place to
Ken will understand. No, he won't. He won't understand. He'll just be like, I knew you were a disgusting degenerate, but this is a completely new level. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Like, just... I think... Oh, yeah. Bobby also has this joke, an existential one, about why they're wearing gloves.
All right, that's actually the best joke, because he's just like, why are we always wearing gloves? And they just starts looking under it.
Exactly. Just...
It's worth considering.
Yeah, like, there are no paramedics that are on site during that whole X Games thing earlier, by the by, which is so weird. It's like they see the carnage happen immediately. There should have been ambulances, like, because this is on national television.
Yeah.
And what the worst thing is that since, you know, Disney owns ESPN, and, like, this is a big thing, that obviously they were cross-promoting it, it really reflects poorly on ESPN that they don't have them featuring anything, like, more up to security, like actual ambulances, like, you know, some kind of medical attention or EMTs to show up. There's no one there. It's just Tank and Goofy and Max. That's it. I was like, what the fuck? Like, there should be
Michael
cops there
Eisner
at
was
least.
angry, and he wanted to give someone a black eye, so it was the head of ESPN.
Oh my God. It's so weird. Because there's a scene, like, because obviously the Gammas are trying to sabotage Max and the rest of his team. I guess they're Team 99 or something, because we get it, they're the underdogs, whatever. It's not just because they're dogs, whatever. I mean, if there were actual pedestrians on the course, like people trying to intercede or whatever, like more so than like just an animal or something, they wouldn't be penalized. The pedestrians would be arrested, and the competition would be forced to restart, because that would be considered a false start or like foul play or something. So they wouldn't allow that to happen. But it's like, I don't understand why those rules don't apply in here, because I guess it's not kid friendly. But it's illogical. Like, there's no reason that they should have allowed this old lady being escorted by, like, the Boy Scout, which is just the Bigfoot, you know, whatever, that's been shaved down. Like, I get that they're going for, like, very, like, silly humor and stuff, but I'm like, no, this doesn't make sense. The X Games has rules, Goofy. You can't just change them like some kind of child. It doesn't work that way.
This is ridiculous. Why would you buy something for a baby?
I'm starting to think that this is a very silly movie. A goofy movie, if you will. Dare I say, an extremely goofy movie.
I will not celebrate this small man. What has he done?
Oh, my God. I mean, I don't really have that much else to interject about this. I really like this movie a lot. As far as I know, it's available ad nauseum on Netflix. I've never seen it taken down.
Yep.
Just because it's one of those easily bankable sequels that they can just keep there, no problem.
Forever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When was the first time that you saw this?
When it came out on VHS back in the day.
Like, you bought it when it initially came out?
It is still in my parents' house.
Yeah, I believe that. You've got quite a VHS selection there. I think I saw this on the Disney Channel, but I think I saw the edited version, because then when I actually rented it later to watch it, like, probably back in, like, when I was back for a college break or something, I remember seeing it, and I was like, oh, I didn't see the part that was censored because of 9/11. I was like, now this makes a little bit more sense.
Yes.
So, I don't know. But, yeah, Robbie, any other closing thoughts, really? I think we're pretty much done.
No, I'm pretty good. Okay. I do want to know what's under the gloves, but we don't have time. That's.
What if
we're gonna go mad talking about that one?
It's just
all right?
Spiders, like their hands just dissolve into spiders. Wait, wasn't there a Mickey like webcomic thing that was made about that? Like he takes his gloves off and it's just like dicks, like his fingers are dicks.
Oh God,
I'm pretty sure I saw that.
Exists.
That may have been on 4chan. I don't remember.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm done. That's it.
Okay.
Canceling the podcast.
We're canceling the podcast. Episode over.
Episode over. Thank you for listening, Tracy. Where do they find you on the internet?
Thank you, Robbie. They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TCTroush. You can also find our show website, notjoannaeggs.tumblr.com. And we're on anywhere you get your podcasts. Robbie, where can they find you?
As always, I am lobster_writer on Twitter and just lobsterwriter on Instagram.
Cool. Well, I'm really glad that we finally did this one, because this has been in the back of my mind for a while, and I'm like, the instant that I rewatched it, I'm like, Robbie, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about this movie. Like, I was so excited. I'm like, we're doing an extremely goofy movie, finally. Because because the original Goofy movie we did over, 4 years ago at this point?
We did it, probably something like that, because it was when we started, it was like one of our first 10 or so episodes.
It would have been at least by episode 7, something like that. And now here we are. I think this is supposed to be episode 75 at this point. Yeah. Shit's crazy. Like we're getting extremely close to episode 100, and I don't have anything planned for it just yet. I don't know if you do.
We hope it's big.
Yeah, we hope it's big and cool. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
So thanks again so much for listening, everyone. We really appreciate it. Please rate, subscribe, comment, all that biz.
All the fun things.
Yeah, all those fun things. iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you get your podcast. Everything really helps. So yeah, thanks again, and I guess we'll talk at you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to another episode of Not Joanna Eggs. Our intro music is Don't Hold My Breath by Ben Briggs, and the outro is Wet Dreams by Phonetic Hero. Both were found on ocremix.org. If you enjoyed this podcast, please remember to like and subscribe on whatever platform you use. Not Joanna Eggs, because animation is for everyone. Thanks. Just been sitting in the background.
Sitting on the
dock of the bay.
Working for the man every night and
Different
day.
song.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
They both feel things very strongly, and they both got away from terrible men, so I'm fine with it. Sitting on the dock of the bay.
Wasting. All right, let's get
working for the man
God
every night.
Damn it, Tracy.